leaving the U.S., the minute you leave, you know what you do? You go to sleep. Literally everyone I know sleeps for about a month. You know why? Because you're exhausted and you don't even realize you're exhausted. All the things that you deal with, the news, the police, the misinformation, the president, just all these different things, high grocery prices, having to work all the time. When you leave, eventually you just go to sleep. Like I
let my intrusive thoughts win. I need to keep it real with y'all, especially for my black men. Listen, if you are single, you have some money, and you're attractive, but you don't have to be attractive. I highly suggest you stay away from traveling. Do not, by any means, go to the Eastern European bloc countries like Czechia, the Czech Republic, or Denmark. Don't go to Europe. All right, stay away from Italy, Spain, and by all means, don't go to the Middle East, Azerbaijan or Armenia. And definitely, hear me out, stay away from South America. No Peru, no Colombia, because I promise you, you will be treated better than you have ever been in your entire life. You would never expect it. And I'm telling you, so what's going to happen is you're going to go, you're going to be treated like the king that you are, and you're going to come back, and you're going to be depressive, damn near suicidal. So don't.
Thank you for joining me again. It's the old head bro, KJ Mack. In the videos you just saw, man, you know, they remind me of how I feel, you know, when I travel overseas and now living overseas, you know, for a year now. It's just a certain feeling you get, you know, when you leave the United States and you travel to another country or you move to another country. Both of the men in those videos are black men, and they have similar feelings, you know, about traveling outside of the United States. You know, I'm a black man and I have the same feelings they have, you know. You have that feeling when you leave the United States, almost that you escaped something. That you, now that you're in another country, you feel like you're finally at peace, you know. Even though you live overseas and you still have to work, you know, unless you're retired. As a black man, you know, when you leave the United States, you move to another country, you know, even with work and everything and different things you have to do, you feel like you're on vacation. You feel like you're finally at rest. You know, a lot of black people in America, they don't realize that being black in America, it's like you have PTSD or something, you know, and you don't realize it until you leave the United States and you get to another country and you get to a place that feels a lot more welcoming. You feel more of a sense of belonging, you know. You move to a country where it's more inclusive for you. You just don't have those everyday stresses that you deal with in America, that people who aren't black have to deal with, that they don't have to deal with, you know, when you're not black. But when you're black in America, yeah, you deal with certain everyday stresses that other people just don't even think about, you know, especially as a black man. And so I know exactly how the men feel in that video, you know, especially the gentleman who lives in Mexico, who was saying that, you know, he just wanted to sleep, you know, saying, yeah, when he, you know, when he got away. Yeah, you just want to be at rest. Your mind feels totally different, you know, when you move overseas, you know. It does something to you. And it's one of the reasons why I'm such a big advocate of international travel and international living, especially for black people. And I always just keep, stressing that whenever I talk to black people who don't travel. There are a lot of black people who still believe things about other countries that are just not true. They believe stereotypes. They haven't been anywhere, and so I just feel like I owe it to my people to keep going with it. And keep trying to convince them, to get passports and to take trips. Even though this channel is not that a big channel yet, obviously, I've had times where I thought, man, this is not working good. Like these last, I guess, since towards the end of last year when I started making videos, yeah, there were times I said, man, should I give up, and not keep doing this anymore, because I'm not getting the following that I thought and everything. But what keeps me going is knowing that I'm reaching some people, even though I'm not reaching a lot, And I got a comment the other day from a young man in New Jersey, where I'm from, a young black man, and he told me I was inspiring him, And so that's what gives me hope, That's what keeps me going with continuing to be a content creator, making these videos, because I want to keep inspiring people, even if it's not a lot, And one of the things I want to always inspire people to do, especially black people, is see this world, and see that there are better places for you in the world. All you gotta do is just get a passport and go. And you will notice a difference, just like the black men in those videos. Yeah, when you travel overseas to different countries, and you just get away, you're not in the United States, okay? You're not dealing with the police, saying that anxiety you have, even when you didn't do nothing wrong, any interaction you have with a police officer, you just leave that behind when you leave the United States. You're not dealing with the anxiety you might feel from your own people like you do in the United States. You just got off the subway and you got to walk maybe a few blocks to the rest of the way to your home, and it's nighttime. And you worry about maybe one of your own people doing something to you, and you're looking over your shoulder. Same thing when you might be pumping gas and it's at night and you're in an urban area, and in the hood somewhere. Stuff like that, you leave behind when you're in another country. You don't even think about it anymore. It's a weight lifted off you. The same thing with the stresses that you go through at work every day in the United States. You're dealing with the rat race. That weighs on you. You're constantly working, trying to get ahead, and you never seem to be caught up. Yeah, overseas living will change you, and it'll make you just feel like a completely different person. And it'll change you for the better. Because I know my life has changed for the better, since I moved overseas. I know I feel physically, I feel healthier, because I've lost weight since I've been here, For some reason I've been able to just keep my mind on my health and my fitness while I'm here, I guess maybe in the United States I had so many other things that I had to worry about every day, so many other things I was stressing over. A lot of times I wouldn't be concentrating on my health and my fitness and everything like I should. Mentally, my life has changed for the better, because I just don't think about the same things that I used to think about every day in the United States. You know, even when there have been tough times living here, you know, getting adjusted to living in another country, you know, financial things, you know, yeah, I just don't have the same, even with those different little difficulties I've had since I've been here, I still don't have the same stress and worries that I've had before. So mentally, you know, I've been a lot better here, you know. So yeah, you know, my life has changed for the better a lot, living here in Colombia and living overseas, you know. It's done wonders for me, you know. And it's really changed my life, you know. Yeah, because, you know, I went through some periods where in the United States, where, you know, I just wasn't there. You know, I went through some things, you know, like 2017, you know, I lost my father, you know, a man I was really close to. 2020, I lost my mother, you know, during COVID. You know, she died from COVID. And then not even a year later, you know, I got the shock of my life when my sister-in-law called me and told me that my brother had just passed away. You know, me and my brother were very close. You know, he was only a year older than me. And so, those three things, you know, put me in a place, you know, saying that, just in a dark place that, it just took me a while to try to pull myself out of it. And, you know, that's one of the things that eventually led me to make another change in my life. And do something that I always dreamed about doing, you know. Ever since I started traveling international and taking vacations overseas, I dreamed about living in another country. And the three losses that I experienced really, you know, opened my eyes, made me think, you know, how much more time do you have left, you know, on this earth, you know, before it's your time to go. So, yeah, you need to go ahead and, you know, that's something that you dreamed about doing for a long time. Go ahead and take that step, you know. And so, you know, I decided to go ahead and do it, you know, last year. And I can tell you, man, for a year, like I said, there's been some low points of living overseas, but for the most part, man, yeah, it has changed my life for the better. You know, it's put my mind in a better place. You know, giving me a chance to just be away in a whole new environment. And like I said, when you move out of the United States, you notice that, you know, other countries, you know, it just offer you sometimes a much better life than you may have thought it would. You know, saying some people, if they haven't traveled outside the United States, they think that the United States is the best at everything. And you're not going to get a better life than what you have in the United States. But then when you go to another country, you realize that, man, you know, the United States is not really all that I thought it was. You know what I'm saying? It's much better here than I thought it would be. It's much better than a lot of things that I might have experienced in the United States. Yeah. And like I said, you know, for a black person moving overseas, you realize that, you know, when you get to other countries, yeah, you feel a lot more welcome, you know what I'm saying, than you may feel in a lot of parts of the United States, you know. You move overseas, you're not dealing with Karens, you know what I'm saying, being suspicious of you, calling the police on you or something. Yeah, you know, you're dealing with people that smile at you and they're friendly, you know. Yeah, they might look at you sometimes because you're a little different, but you don't feel that same hostility that you feel in the United States. it can be a much better, just a much better environment that you're in, you know. So, yeah, man. For me, yeah, living in Colombia has changed my life for the better. You know, I can definitely say that. And I think that for those of you that may not have a passport yet, you know, or may not, you know, have traveled outside of the country yet, I can say that, yeah, if you did decide to finally make that leap and take an international trip, whether it's here to Colombia or anywhere else, you know, you're more than likely going to have a really good experience, and you're going to enjoy it, and you're going to regret having any kind of negative feelings about other countries, you know, that you may have had before you travel, you know. And it's going to change your life, you know what I'm saying? It's probably going to change your life for the better too, you know, getting those experiences. So now that's like, I guess like my calling now, my life's work is, you know, just trying to reach out to people and encourage them, you know what I'm saying, to explore, you know, traveling overseas and moving overseas. And now I created some tools that that are available to you now. If you want to learn more, you know, I just thought, like I said, I've just started creating digital products online, and now I have 3 products available to you. You know, I have a new guide that just came out, you know, how to move overseas in 90 days. I also have the Colombia Relocation Starter Pack available. I have the Expat Money Master available, you know, so you can know how to, you know, budget your finances overseas. And I'm also available for one-on-one consultations, you know. If you want to learn more about traveling to Colombia and relocating to Colombia. So those things are available now, you know, all through my Linktree, you know. Yeah, so that's going to be my life's work now, I guess, you know, now that I'm getting into another stage of my life now, you know, mid to late 50s. Yeah, so, you know, like I said, I appreciate the support that you've given me for this channel. I'm getting closer to 100 subscribers, and that's going to be a great milestone for me. I appreciate each and every one of you, you know, for supporting the channel in these early stages, you know, as I'm a new content creator. So please, you know, like, share, and subscribe to this video. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel. You know, and please continue to support me as I continue my journey, you know, as a content creator. I really appreciate it. Thanks for joining me again. It's the old head abroad, KJ Mack.